Hello everybody and welcome. I am Leonie, and if you're new to my channel, this is the pre-tour chat, which will last for about 15 minutes, where we will then go into the tour of Teignmouth. Hello Susan, hello Tish. I hope everybody is well. If you don't want to watch the pre-tour chat, by all means just scroll across. Hello Pizzazz. A weapon. What weapon do we have, by goodness my gracious? Hello Rosie. Hello Leslie. Who have we got on board? Anybody else hiding away? He'll make you row, Tish. Hello Sue and Rolo. Row, row, row the boat gently down the stream. That kind of row, or row. I mean, this is the trouble with the English language. You can have row, you can have row. You can have roo. There's not a roo, actually, to be fair. That was me just making it up. Today has been a very strange day. As in, I went out about lunchtime and it was suddenly gloriously sunny. Goodness gracious me, went out again, suddenly overcast, went out warm, but now it's looking dark skies because of course I'd said we could possibly do loos. I'm never going to say I'm going to do loos again because every time I do the weather's just rubbish. And actually I think possibly we could have done, because I'm not sure it is going to rain. Hello Carolyn. Margaret had a weapon. Is Margaret on? Because I haven't seen Margaret or heard from Margaret for a couple of weeks. I was starting to wonder if everything was all right in the world of Margaret. So anyway, yes, so I am looking at a sky which is looks as if it could rain any moment. I've also put some Vaseline on my lips and I've come into this room, which has obviously got hairs of peach floating around. And well, thank you. Hello, Margaret. I'm glad you are here and I hope you are well. Michael, I am pleased to see you have come here for the pre-tour. And hello, Nikki. Did I say hello, Susan? Because I've got confused now between Susans and Sues and potatoes and potatoes. And hello, Mummy Sanderson. You've been busy decorating for 2 weeks. No, you haven't been busy decorating for 2 weeks, have you, Margaret? Nobody well, if you have, why would you? Can't bear decorating. Haven't decorated in this house for, well, I'm not even going to disclose. When did I move in? Hello, Trisha. How are you? It's been decorated with fur and various other things that come off a cat. Blue's currently sporting a fur ball. It's currently not going anywhere. Hello, Sarah. So I hear it. I won't try and do the noise because I think when I do the noise, I replicate the face. Well, not his face. Obviously, I can't suddenly become furry, but anyway, it's not pleasant. So how is everybody here? Is everybody enjoying their weekends? I mowed the back garden yesterday, which is quite proud of myself for doing because it's like a jungle. I've been through many shades of horribleness. Horribleness? I hope the shades aren't on the wall. Susan's bearing up. Oh, sounds joyful. Nikki's 40 today. Is it today you are 40, or are you just making a declaration that you are 40? Oh, it's Linda. She's not at the beach. And she hurt her neck yawning the day after her birthday. Well, it can't be her birthday today because she's referring to the day after her birthday. Rosie's been sorting through storage barrels. Storage barrels, that sounds like there should be beer in them or something. 2 days ago. Well, happy 40th birthday for 2 days ago. I don't know why you're telling Tish that when I asked the question. I mean, Tish may have asked the question, but Tish always gets there before I've even thought it, as we know. Mary's been making Lego. How lovely. Cindy's got bad air alerts in Detroit from Canadian Fire. Oh, wow. That's scary. Hello, Laurie. Bad air alerts. Wow. I've never had a bad air alert. Perhaps people around Christmas time might want to put some of them in. But, gosh, difficult. I know when next door, Tish may have asked first, but Tish answers first. She does everything first. Next door, when they turned on their barbecue, thingy with a... Oh, I've forgotten, whatever. And then the smoke, yeah, I could smell it coming in the back door. Thought, that's not nice. Chimera, chiminea, something like that. It doesn't bode well, does it? Smoke in Shropshire from the Canadian fires. Good Lord, how far does that smoke go? We're going to be talking about Canada later. No, definitely not an incinerator. That would be quite morbid. Oh, it's where we put all the dead bodies. It's terrible in southern Ontario too. Well, gosh, Chimney. I think it's Chimney. Linda trying to work out to say hello to certain people and will have forgotten some that you don't know are on there yet. We should all sing to Nikki. Happy birthday to Nikki for 40. 40. Good Lord. Such a young spring chicken. Oh, hello, Rosemary. Nice to see you again. We are off to Devon. Hello, Dawn. I was looking at these photos and videos and I was just, oh, Devon, let's go back. I was going to go to an outside art fair but opted not to. I think that's very wise. You will see some art today. Art is in the eye of the beholder. Seeing some very random comments. And the chat's going a little bit wild. So yes, weather was glorious in Devon. So of course that always helps when you go somewhere and the weather's glorious. The views were lovely. I was by the sea, the coast. Oh, how wonderful. I was looking at the coastal walk and I thought it's just lovely to be able to get out, wander along and walk by the sea. Not, of course, if it's raining and stormy, but... So then I decided, as you know, I want to do, maybe I should go and live by the sea. But then I also love rivers and lakes and forests. But obviously I won't be moving anywhere. Laurie said, bad enough in Chicago that I got a sore throat from being outside Friday. Goodness gracious. That's really quite terrible. And I have to say, I haven't had any news alerts about some Canadian fires. Not that I'm sad about that. Hello, Trista, because I get so sad thinking about all the animals that can't escape. I mean, let alone hopefully all the people escape. But it's all very distressing. Well, much love to everybody struggling. I was just reading today. My eyebrow's going a bit crazy at the moment. Need to get an eye on that. Sort that one out. Looked like I had a runaway slug. I was reading today about the Switzerland landslip and the impact of climate change. That was all quite scary. It was a very interesting article, quite long. I learnt a lot. Will have forgotten it all in about 30 minutes. Laurie washed her face and the next day she realised the washcloth was yellow. Now, I'm not sure, you see, what it could have been. It was always yellow and it took her a day to realise the colour of the washcloth. Or when she washed her face, she'd put yellow face paint on and didn't realise. Or alternatively, the smoke made the washcloth turn yellow. So many options. There's floods around Dawlish and Teignmouth now, or oh, there's so much going on, so much going on. I can't cope. Is that a thing? Oh, sorry, just lifted my glass. It's stuck to the coaster. The world's erupting. The world is, yes. Sometimes it's a good idea not to watch too much news. It can become terrifying. I was worried there was going to be a tsunami wave of devastating proportions, but that seemed to have evened itself out, so that's good. I've had a baby slug that I saved today. That has probably come off either Cato potato or it's come off the peach. Good, Rosemary. Not now it happens with high tides. Yes, it does indeed. I mean, I have an invasion of slugs. I remember when I was younger, there was a book where all the slugs came into the house and they're going everywhere. And actually, you know, it was terrifying and it was petrified slugs type of thing. And now, unfortunately, yeah, it's not cute, Tish. I mean, especially not when you find them all crusted up because they've run out of their moisture. Because they've gone onto a carpet. They've come on and gone hitched a ride on one of the long heads, and then, oh, sometimes randomly you'll find them like crawling up somewhere and you'll be like, oh, okay, I'll save you then. I think it's a good job you've come in my house, because most people would probably chuck them out, as in the bin. And I go, oh, I must save you, mister. Little baby slug sits on the end of my finger. Had a little spider in my wheelie bin the other day, and he had an egg, so I had to rescue him and make sure that he was with his egg, or her egg. Don't know how the egg situation is, so I was like with a leaf, got the egg, got the spider, all put them both together, and then I watched the spider reunite with its egg. It's fluffy eggs, no doubt more than one, and then it went and hid them somewhere. The Good News Channel. This is the Good News Channel, and I'll be sharing some good news with you all. Global warming is blamed for the fires here. At least 4 provinces have ongoing fires and air currents push them down to the rest of us. And that's not good news. No, I lied. When I said it was the Good News Channel, that was before I read that comment, which isn't a Good News channel. What are we... oh, yes. The Good News Channel wouldn't have anybody reading it. I was thinking, you know, you have all these stories about death, you know, and everything else. If you had all the stories about baby born, £7 9 ounces, baby born, £8 9 ounces, you'd be like, get bored. We thrive on drama. Ladybugs, yes. Oh, that was funny. That reminds me, when I was taking a film of the raft race, which I've forgotten to do anything with, there was a ladybug on me. So this chap picked it up and blew it, and the ladybug flew off, and it went onto a seat just behind this person leaning forward, and then the lady leaned back and was like, and then she leaned forward and the ladybug moved, and then she leaned back, and it was like a horror movie. I think I got distracted. I was like, it could have been fine on my arm, and now it's going to get crushed to death by a lady's bottom. So I don't know what happened anyway. I will, of course, be told very soon that we're going to go live. So hold on to your paws. We've got about 30 seconds left by my ladybird, ladybug, lady chap. I mean, a ladybird, wouldn't that just be a female bird? Ladybird, ladybug. Oh, see, let's not get all stuck on that, because we're going to be going off in 30 seconds, and I'll still be talking about something unrelated to the tour. Thank you, Margaret. It's 7 o'clock and it's time to launch into our Teignmouth Treasures tour, which is a lot of alliteration and probably the best my mouth will work for the duration of said tour. We have got 3 different videos. We have got some little photos to share with you. Now, the reason the videos are taken separately is because they are in either opposite directions and therefore unable to take them all in one stream, or in the case, I think, of the first and second one, it's when I became all tied up with my gimbal and had to restart it very annoyingly and thought, I've just spent 8 minutes, I'm not going to redo it all over again. So Teignmouth is in the south coast of Devon. I went there on a lovely day trip while I was staying in Dawlish. Some of you have already been with me when I went to Dawlish. And we shall have a look now. What I would say is Prism has had a bit of a change, and now I'm not sure where the audio is going to come from. So what I need you to do is bear with while I play this first video, which actually I don't think is the first video. So let's just, yeah, that's not the first video, so that's super helpful. I'm going to play the first video, and what I want you to do is let me know if you can hear the audio. If you can't hear the audio, then not to worry, I will do something else. So, ta-da! I think I didn't put us on Do Not Disturb, so it should be absolutely fine with the audio and you could ignore me. Can everybody hear? Can everybody see? Sarah, all my tours are still available on YouTube, so the good news is, if you didn't see it live, you will be able to watch it on YouTube. Now, we very fleetingly looked at, just as we started, we saw the station. Now, Teignmouth Station was opened by the South Devon Railway Company on the 30th of May 1846. We're currently in the car park, which is oh so exciting, and you can see there, showing you a little bit of a splatter of bird deposits, which I thought, oh, and there's some more. So apparently if you park here, it's not great. Now, Teignmouth was originally the HQ of South Devon Railway. The station and offices were described as a primitive apology for a station, which is rather nice. And of course, this all because of Isambard Brunel. Isambard Kingdom Brunel, interestingly enough, I think I've started thinking of Burger King. The train originally used atmospheric power from September 1847 to September 1848. Now, South Devon Railway was amalgamated into Great Western Railway in February 1876. The station, and you can see the station building over there, was rebuilt by 1895. Now, Great Western Railway was nationalised into British Railways on 1st of January 1948. And unfortunately, the station had to close for 2 months during the repair of the railway and seawall after the storm of February 2014, which of course we spoke about in our tour of Dawlish and the Red Rock. So I'm now walking towards the coast from this area. This is a random back road. I'm trying not to get run over. Now, the anchor that we saw is a reminder of the town's maritime history. It's got a long history of being a port and a fishing town. Now, Teignmouth is where the river 14 meets the sea. It started originally as a Saxon settlement, but it became a prominent port and then a popular seaside resort. Originally, it was made up of 2 separate villages, east and west, and Teignmouth, but it was separated by a stream. But later, they were united. Teignmouth developed from the mid-18th century to become one of Devon's earliest seaside resorts. People came to improve their health by bathing in the water and drinking it. I would rather pass on the latter. And of course, when people couldn't travel abroad because it wasn't safe due to the Napoleonic Wars, Teignmouth became known as the Montpellier of England. And those wars, for those of you who can't quite remember, were in 1803 to 1815. And there, of course, is just some of the wares and wet paint that you can find while you're wandering around these lovely little shops. Now, of course, with the railway in 1846, more people could travel. And they did. Now, take a note of this concrete marker you can see. We've got a ball and we've got that marker to the left. And that's the remains of a 15th century market cross, which was dug up on the site of Old East Teignmouth Market in the late 19th century. It was first placed in the grounds of Teignmouth Infirmary, but it was later relocated. It's a very nice little spot of green. And now Teignmouth has the fame and fortune of being the last place in England to be invaded by a foreign country. In 1690, there was a devastating French raid, and a royal brief read in all churches throughout the country appealed for financial aid. It was part of the 9 Years' War. On the 13th of July, unlucky for some, 1690, the French naval force had control of the English Channel after victory at the Battle of Beachy Head. They attacked Teignmouth. French troops landed and then they ransacked and burnt the place. It reminds me of what happened to Rye, sadly. And over the course of 12 hours, they burnt down 116 dwelling houses, plundered 172 dwelling houses. They had, for 2 parish churches, much ruined, plundered and defaced. They burnt 10 ships with goods inside, although then they also mention 11. So, 11 being destroyed. They caused £11,000 worth of damage, which, when you think of, obviously that's quite a large sum of money now, let alone in 1690. And the town's French Street is named in memory of the attack, which is interesting that you would want to remember such a devastating attack. The ball, I couldn't find anything about the ball, so I decided it's a very lovely ball. Unfortunately, you can end up going down several rabbit holes, and the locals may well know why there's a ball. It's a ball. It looks like a lovely ball, and it offsets the ancient market cross. And there you are, looking to the right to the pier, which we'll wander along closer to. And look at some of these beautiful properties. Now, this is where it all started going a bit wrong, because I thought to myself, wouldn't it be nice if I could somehow get all of it in one shot? So then, of course, I managed to zoom in rather than zoom out. Then, of course, I've zoomed out and I've got the gimbal now. So that's the arm of the gimbal in the shot. And of course, I've forgotten I have zoomed out, and I then go, why is the gimbal in the way? Has the gimbal been in the way all the time? So, no, The gimbal was not in the way all the time, but I was starting to lose my mind. So let's pretend that didn't happen and we'll go back. And it's almost seamless. Now, the little hamlet of East Teignmouth developed around the old Saxon church of St Michael's, which is, and they had fishermen's cottages and a salt huts for processing salt. The Saxon church was on site for over 1,000 years. Now, most of the current church that we're looking at dates from 1823. Although it has got older features such as a south-facing doorway built in the Norman style. And the tower was added in 1887 to celebrate the Golden Jubilee of Queen Victoria. Now, as you can tell, I'll try and maybe reduce the volume. It's a little bit windy. See some lovely flower displays there on the balconies. So it's a bit of a maze of roads. So we're walking towards our market cross and very important bull there. We've got a lovely big red bin. Now we are going to be walking towards the Riviera, and I'll point that out in a minute. Now that's a Grade 2 listed building. It was built in 1825 for use by the gentry, no less, for cards, billiards, concerts. It became a venue for the fortnightly Teignmouth Grand Ball. How wonderful to have a ball every fortnight. And the ballroom was 70 feet long. It converted to an exclusive gentlemen's club in the 1870s. In 1912, the ballroom was converted into a cinema by Charles Pook. And it was Charles Poole, sorry, and it was named Poole's Perfect Pictures. And you wouldn't have been able to say that after you've had a few. Opened on Easter Monday with a programme of short films including, and this sounds lovely, Cheated by Fate, which is about opium dens. In 1970 it closed for alterations, and there was an amusement arcade created on the ground floor. The cinema was in the former Circle area. And on the 26th of March 2000, unfortunately, Riviera Theatre, a cinema, closed due to a large increase in rent. The planning application proposed to build luxury flats on the top of the building where the roof garden used to be, and to refurbish and reopen the cinema. There was much opposition to the plans, but by 2007 those luxury flats had been built. And I've looked, and they're sort of you can rent them, I think, or they're penthouse 1 to 5. Here's some of the properties available. You see them, quite some nice properties, sadly out of my price bracket, some of the really nice ones. Always worry when I'm doing this that the estate agent is going to nip outside and say, oh, you're wanting to buy. In 2017, the Riviera converted into a church, the Mars Hill Church. Nothing to do with the chocolate bar. Planned to bring a restaurant back in the 1930s Art Deco style. The auditorium as close as possible to how it was at the time. Unfortunately, that only lasted about 7 years, and the tea rooms closed on the 19th of October 2024. And here we are now. This is really interesting. It's called the Teignmouth Triangles, and the triangle fountain was given to the town in 1885. It's Grade 2 listed. The pigeons love it, and the seagulls. The water has been replaced by flowers and plants, and some locals are not keen. The trouble, of course, when you have some sort of planting scheme, as any gardeners know, there's going to be a period of time when it doesn't look that good. There's a water fountain. So it's a fascinating design, though. And as I say, I'm sure the pigeons and the seagulls love it as well. I do like a seagull sitting, looking out. Whee! Well, yes, 1885. Very, very different. I don't think I've seen one like that before. And we're walking towards the den, which I will talk about in a minute. But firstly, I want to point out the Riviera when we get there. Look at those beautiful clouds. And you can see there's some inflatable slides there. This is lovely, this little kind of well with the beautiful mosaics or shell plastering, however you might like to describe that. Surrounded by a lot of people, walking around in circles, trying to video. And just over there, that building there, is the Riviera. But we're going to have a look at some rocks first. And this, of course, I'm sure a few of you will know that there's some people that go around painting rocks, and there you are, King Standing Rocks. You can find them on Facebook, as it says, and that's really sweet. Smile, and I did. So there we are, that's the Riviera, and you can see the flats on top there, those luxury flats. You can see the humped zebra crossing, that's an annoyed zebra. Must have a splendid view. And there's so much of Teignmouth that really I didn't get a chance to wander around. You can see lots of roads. Lots of roads. And I imagine it must have been absolutely spectacular in its heyday with that ballroom. You are quite right. You know me too well, Nicky. Somebody had told me to smile. So we are walking towards the den. There's an advert for a Muse concert on the left, which we'll be talking about. So the den is the reclaimed grassy area, which has been used for a variety of reasons. And look at these gorgeous wildflowers. Now, originally you'd have seen fishing nets laid out to dry, being used for production of salt, as a fashionable promenade walk, as a concert and entertainment venue, and for various sports, including horse racing. Hello, Mr. B. Indeed, in 1773, Fanny Burney described pig races, The pig had its tail docked and greased and was given as a prize to the man of course, that could catch it. There was also a cricket ground, one of the earliest records of cricket in Devon. It was originally owned by Lord Devon, and in 1869 the local government bought it as a public pleasure ground, which of course I wonder when really we stopped referring to these areas as pleasure grounds. I'm just going to wander down to the pleasure ground. Now in 1967 the Beatles stayed in the Royal Hotel, they're now called the Royal Court Flats, when they were filming their Magical Mystery Tour. The band Muse went to school in Teignmouth and they returned in 2009 to perform concerts on the Den, and there you saw one of the posters for that event. It's now a focal point for the town carnival in July and the regatta in August. It's got the Pavilions Theatre, which we passed, tennis courts, crazy golf, bowling green, skate park, splash zone and a children's play areas. It's all going on. The pier was built in 1865. It opened in 1867 and it was originally 700 feet. But it was later extended in the 1900s with buildings, a pavilion complete with ballroom. How many ballrooms do you need? And it was used for dances and pleasure steamer trips. It had a landing stage for those pleasure steamers. Now it's been reduced in length to 625 foot. It originally cost £8,000, so quite a lot of money. All types of traditional seaside entertainment was performed there. Pegleg Pete, who set himself alight and then dove into the sea. Oh, we would have enjoyed Pegleg Pete, wouldn't we? Crowds would gather on the pier and in small boats to watch water polo matches. And we are looking at the pier. And I went into the pier, or rather the building on the pier, and I'll show you a couple of photos so you can see what it looks like. Now, 89 piers were built in England and Wales between 1814 and 1910. Only 50 of those remain, and some of those no longer function as a pier. Now, Teignmouth Pier is one of only 2 left on the southwest coast of Devon. Now, during World War II, a 60-foot section of deck was removed so the Germans couldn't use them to disembark troops and supplies from their ships. Nearly all the piers on the east and south coast were treated in the same way. Now, compensation was paid out to replace the section, but Teignmouth wasn't returned to its original width until the early 1960s, and we can see there another bit of that glorious Devonshire rock. What a view. Now, it was sadly damaged in the 2014 storms. The repairs were estimated to be hundreds of thousands of pounds. The building was transformed, but parts of the pier deck remain closed. In November 2016, they had armoured steel installed to protect it from storms. In 2017, the owners set out a plan to restore it to its former glory, but it's expensive, and they said we need visitors. And unfortunately, as you know, these seaside towns, they are actually unfortunately being impacted by people going abroad. In July 2018, the Royal Navy blew up a 2,600-pound World War II bomb when a teenage scuba diver found it under the pier. Can you imagine? You're a teenager, you're scuba diving under the pier and suddenly you come across a bomb. Wow. Wow. And we are looking at Teignmouth War Memorial. It's a 19-foot square-shaped obelisk made from Dartmoor granite. It's got World War I, World War II, Cyprus emergency, Malayan emergency, and post-1944 war or conflicts. The fallen are listed. I rather like this war memorial. and they obviously look after it. Woo! And then we suddenly go, whoop. While we have a wonder, I'm going to talk to you about the Teignmouth electron. So in 1932, Donald Crowhurst was born in British India. His mother was a teacher and his father worked on the Indian Railways. Now, while his mother was pregnant, she really wanted a girl. So Donald was dressed as a girl until the age of 7. When India gained independence, they moved back to England, and unfortunately the family's retirement savings were invested in an Indian sporting goods factory which burnt down during rioting during the partition of India. Now, his father died in 1948, so he'd have been about 16 years old. Due to the family's financial problems, he had to leave school early that year. Now, as he grew older, he was a weekend sailor, and he designed and built a radio direction finder called the Navigator. He had some success, but his business began to fail. So it seemed, unfortunately, that financial issues plagued the family. Now, to gain publicity, he tried to get sponsors to join the Sunday Times Golden Globe race. He mortgaged his home and business. The race was a single-handed round-the-world race open to all. Other races of the time, entrants had to prove their ability before entry. Oh, I love the reflection of the war memorial on the glass there. Now, entrants had to start between the 1st of June and the 31st of October 1968, so that they would be passing through the Southern Ocean in the summer. So the Southern Ocean being quite a treacherous area. Now, the prize was for a trophy for the first person, and a £5 prize for the £5,000 prize for the fastest. Now, Crowhurst built the Teignmouth electron, which is a trimaran. It's potential to sail quicker, but it could be slow if it's overloaded and difficult to sail close to the wind. Here you've got another great view of the Riviera. Now, if it's capsized, it's virtually impossible to right. Now, to improve its safety, he had planned to add an inflatable buoyancy bag on the top to prevent capsizing. However, due to the short time he had to build and equip his boat, and of course to get his fundraising and support, all of his safety devices were not completed. In addition, many of his spares and supplies were left behind in confusion during the preparations. To add to all this, he hadn't sailed a trimaran before receiving his boat. On the 13th of October, an experienced sailor, Lieutenant Commander Peter Eden, went with Crowhurst from Cowes to Teignmouth, and as before, he fell into the water. The vibrations caused by higher speeds caused screws on the self-steering gear to become loose, and they had to be kept going back up. It was reported his sailing technique was good, but his navigation was a mite slapdash. Crowhurst left Teignmouth on the last day possible, which was the 31st of August 1968. He immediately had problems with his boat, his lack of skills and experience, and his equipment. So it was going well. In the first few weeks, he was making less than half of his planned speed. Now, in his logs, he gave a 50-50% chance of surviving the ocean. He could either quit the race, which would have been the right thing to do, but he would face financial ruin and humiliation, or he could continue and probably die. Now, not great odds. Now, over November to December 1968, he started reporting vague and false positions, and then he shut down his radio. So he planned to stay in the South Atlantic for a few months, falsifying navigation logs, returning as the last place finisher. And his hope was that as he was last, no one would check his logs in that great detail. He stopped in South America to repair his boat, which of course broke the rules. Now, much of his voyage was spent in radio silence towards that period, and his family heard nothing for 11 weeks. So you can imagine how stressed they must have been. By early December, he was, however, because of his false reporting, he was thought to be the likely winner as he was the fastest. Now, an entrant dropped out on the 22nd of April 1969. Now, that meant that it left Crowhurst and Tetley. Tetley was in the lead, but thinking he was neck and neck with Crowhurst, he pushed his failing boat. He was also sailing a trimaran, and he had to abandon ship on the 30th of May. This meant there was only Crowhurst left, and it looked likely, again, he was going to be seen to be fastest. So now there's massive pressure. If he was fastest, his logbooks would be examined and his deceit would be uncovered. His last radio transmission was on the 29th of June. His last logbook entry on the 1st of July. His boat was found adrift without anyone on board on 10th of July. He was only 36 or 37. He left behind a wife and 4 children. Just to interrupt the story, but hopefully you can all see there's Milo's Cafe over there. I think the owner wondered why I went back and took several photos of that. Now, sadly, his logs show a very troubled mind. It is thought he committed suicide. He wrote about life being a game. It was overseen by cosmic beings with the devil and God setting the rules for the game. Before the deception was revealed, the winner, Robin Knox Johnston, had donated his £5,000 prize to Crowhurst's widow and children. Tetley was awarded a consolation prize and built a new trimaran. The boat was taken, so the Teignmouth Electrum was taken to Jamaica and sold several times. It was repurposed as a cruise boat, then a dive boat. It was damaged in a hurricane and sadly never repaired. It's now falling apart on Cayman Brac. So there's actually a photo of the wreck where you can see the word Teignmouth, but somebody's stolen the word Electron. This whole tragic story has been featured in a few films and documentaries. In 2018, The Mercy was released with Colin Firth and Rachel Weisz. It was filmed in Teignmouth. However, it showed that he had only 3 children, not 4, which is rather bizarre. Or rather not bizarre, it probably saved money with the number of children, but perhaps not great for the child that wasn't shown. And I love this. So this to the left of the door, and just round the corner there's some lovely artwork. And can you see just above the bird, can you see the pixel art? Now in Paris there is Invader, who was a pioneer of ceramic pixel art. Space Invader inspired creations that can be found around Paris. In Teignmouth, there is Ghost. Now, if you want to look on Instagram, it's Ghost-TQ14, or on Facebook as the Teignmouth Ghost. There are several video game, animation and pop culture pieces with the signature of the Pac-Man Ghost. I love the Smurf one. Now, this was started in November 23. Now, I can see there's 46 items that have been listed on Instagram. The artist pays for the materials themselves and they take many hours to make. And unfortunately, some people who are known as Ghostbusters try to take them down. I thought they were really fun addition to the town, and I've got some photos that I'll share with you. of some others that aren't on the stream. And then to a different kind of culture. This is a house that John Keats stayed at. So in late December 1810, George and 1817, sorry, George and Tom, his younger brothers, came to stay in Teignmouth. Tom sadly was already seriously affected by TB. The idea was that he would be helped by a gentler Devonshire climate and special care provided by a well-known local doctor. So they rented this house, which is in Northumberland Place, and John Keats joined them in March 1818. The weather, unfortunately, was not great. Cold winds, mist, fog and rain. Keats actually wrote a poem about Teignmouth, and he sent it to a friend, which he described as some doggerel. And if I remember, I'll actually post it in my Facebook group. Now, Keats described Devon as a splashy, rainy, misty, snowy, foggy, haily, floody, slipshod county. By early May, fortunately, the weather was improving and Keats started falling in love with the place, I think, but sadly Tom was much worse. He was feverish and had difficulty sleeping. They returned home, which was to London, for George is married to Georgina Wiley. George and Georgina, indeed. She was a Devon girl. And John travelled with them to Liverpool, where they set out for a new life in America. Sadly, on the 1st of December, Tom died. And in the following year, John Keats was taken ill on the Isle of Wight and also diagnosed with TB, which must have been terrifying when you know your brother's just recently died of it. And to find a better climate, to better deal with his condition, he travelled to Rome, and very sadly he died there on the 23rd of February 1821, aged just 25. And Nikki would like this. When I was walking along, a chap spoke to me. I think he said, are you doing TikTok or something? Which is why I'm walking so close to the wall at this stage, I think. And I gave one of my splendid smiles, I'm sure. And trotted off, and he made a comment which was less than favourable. Now, I absolutely adore this view. And in the distance, you can see Sheldon Bridge, which I was a little bit obsessed with every time we drove past. Now, River Beach was around the town, was once a maze of fishermen's cottages and boat building yards. And you can go back in time. Now, by the 14th century, West Teignmouth had become one of the leading ports on the south coast. It was exporting local salt, wool and minerals from Dartmoor. The tradition of maritime trading continued with shipbuilding on both sides of the estuary. From the 16th and 19th century, many men from Teignmouth and Sheldon earned their living in the Newfoundland fishing grounds. Away from home from March to October each year, they went on the transatlantic voyages to fish off the coast of Newfoundland in Canada. This trade was a major part of Teignmouth economy. They would sail in the spring, fish for cod, dry it and return to Europe in the fall. Some stayed, and many surnames can be traced back to families in Teignmouth, Sheldon and the surrounding areas. Now, in the 1820s, Dartmoor granite was shipped to London from the New Quay to build the embankment, the London Bridge and the British Museum. Ships still sail up load up ball clay from the Bovey Basin, which is an area, to be transported across the world, and many changes have had to be made to the docks to enable large vessels to berth, to increase mechanisation and provide additional storage. There are many large ships which pass by on the way to commercial port of Teignmouth by pleasure boats and fishing boats. And you can see someone out there on a jet ski. Now, the earliest settlements on the Teign River were dependent on fishing. Since the Clean Sweep environmental programme to improve water quality, which was completed in the mid-1990s, the area is regaining its reputation as a premier location for shellfish. Sholdon Bridge opened in 1827 as a wooden toll bridge. At the time, it was the longest bridge in the country. Now, it was then replaced by the current one in 1931. And I do like the use of the bag there over to protect from the elements. Have I heard Sholdon Bridge sing? No, I haven't. Is that something I need to listen to? Now, over to the left, you've obviously got the beach and a bit of sandy beach, and there's also a ferry service, and that ferry service has been going across the river since the 13th century. And the present boat is said to be the oldest working ferry boat in the country. Love the colour of these properties looking out. Isn't that fun? It operates a regular passenger service. There's two built. One was built in two boats. One was built in 1946 and one built in 1973. They're black and white and still running. Now, before the bridge was built, it saved a journey of about 14 miles. If you want to go on the ferry, it costs £2.50 for an adult foot passenger. A child is £1. It's cash only. Not bad, is it? Old Coast Guard cottage. They raised the bridge. Wow. That would be something to see. I just absolutely loved the view looking left. So you would drive past Teignmouth. You'd go along past the bridge on your left and you look back and it's just a fantastic view. I think the thing is there is some fabulous architecture in Teignmouth. You can wander around and you can really find some treasures, which is of course why I called this Teignmouth Treasures. Thank you to those who are liking the video, and thank you to those who are sending support via PayPal or any other means. Again, got a bit of different colorations down here. So I do like this sign. And you may be able to hear the seagulls in the background, obviously, singing their song. Walking back there, you can see Keats' house again. Oh, Rosemary, how lovely. You've been going to Sholdon every year since your mid-teens. Yes, I can understand why. Really is quite special. Ship in on our right in the blue. Tinview Place. Sorry, I mean, I'm not quite sure why I had to do a full circle there, but I wanted to get a better view of the house that Kate stayed in. And that is as good as you're going to get while I'm in a small road. It's very nice, however, that I think that it's got the road opposite it, which gave it a better angle for me to capture it. Templar Way. This is a private working quay and is dangerous. Everywhere I went, danger, danger. So on the left there you can see Sheldon, or Sheldon. And can you hear the wind? And this is with my volume on very low. But look at this. Whee! Now, I had to be careful here because I was slightly concerned about walking off the edge. Because, as you can see, there is rather a drop. We drove. You could, of course, we went to the station, so you could have got the train from Dawlish to Teignmouth. I mean, I'm sure there's also a bus. And look at Mr. Seagull getting his feet wet, or her feet wet. And no, you definitely wouldn't get me on a motorcycle, Ronnie. There are some things that should not be done. Yes, I can imagine private helicopter. Oh, you know me, I don't really like flying, so going to try and avoid that. So the that boat goes out to guide ships in. And also it's, well, we'll talk about that in a minute. Caution, no barriers. Indeed, don't go there in the dark. I could have just sat there for quite some time looking at this view, if I'm honest with you. With the clouds looking like they've puffed. Find out the best way to get there. Well, it depends where you're going from, Laurie. and whether you have a car. It's not cheap parking at these places, but now our last, do you know what? I want to show some photos to you now, actually. So the first video I'm going to show you is, this is inside the pier. I've not seen one like this before, and it just made me chuckle quite a lot. Just everything about it, the big googly eyes, the person that isn't really a person, obviously, at the front, just all I found quite funny. It'll be even better if I can actually now move that off the screen. Then we've got inside, of course, the palmistry, for those of you who want to get your palms read in the automatic. Goodness knows what it'll tell you, but you know. And then a picture of the pier. So as you can see, you couldn't go out the back doors. And sadly, that's how it looks at the moment. So I do hope they get the investment so that they can, I like the way how I've overlaid the clouds on the clouds there, so that looks good. Then there's some more pixel art for you. So if you look at this one, just above Alchemy, you'll see we've got a Daffy Duck, just with the British flag fluttering, and of course you've got the ghost. Then we've got, yes, I think it's one of the original machines. Then we've got this one. More of a bit of a floral. We've got Where's Wally? Can you see down there on the corner? So this is just while we're in the car park. And then the last one for you is this one. And I loved it because you've got the seahorse. And then you've got another pixel art. So I love these. And then this, just because I thought it just really made me laugh. So you've got number 9 with 1, 2, 3, 4. And it just, for some reason, just made me chuckle. It looked like it was some sort of test. Then we're coming up to the last video, I'm afraid, guys. Oh. I was trying to be clever. That didn't work. So this is now back to the seafront. So if you imagine where we were looking with the pier to our left, we are now walking towards the right. And the anchor was actually trawled up by local fishermen off Start Point, which is in Devon. It weighs approximately 2 tons. It was hand forged and it's estimated to be 300 years old. Isn't that lovely? And I did a bit of zoomage, which you won't be able to see, but you know, hey. 5, 6, 7 and 8 fell in the sea. Who knows? Oh, there you are. It zoomed even more. And it's just basically what I told you anyway. Oh. So half of the video appears me just trying to control the zoom. Isn't that lovely? I do love that. We've seen a boat like this before. I think it was in Maidstone, wasn't it? Coronation Square. Jubilee Square. Coronation Square. Oh, no, I've got confused. Coronation Square. Anyway, the lighthouse was built in 1845. It's grade 2 listed. There isn't a lighthouse keeper. Now, not everybody liked it. Someone said the feeble glare emitted from the lantern is of no service by night except it be to light the fishes to their sandy beds. I love that. I love that quote. Thinking of fishes having a little bit of a nightlight when they're going off to bed. However, an Admiralty investigation proved them wrong. The entrance to Teignmouth is very hazardous with dangerous currents, rocks and shifting sandbars. So this is the front range light, and the tower is built of local grey sandstone. The rear range light is 100 feet away and has a fixed red light on a street pole. Now, we're now looking towards, well, we're actually looking at the lighthouse, but there's actually a, no, Keats didn't strangely say that, but he also gave a glowing review. But there's a Teignmouth Promenade Park Run every Saturday at 9 AM, which is a 5,000 kilometre, a 5k walk, jog, run, open to all, not 5,000 kilometres. Please, that would just be ridiculous. I like the fact it can be a walk, it can be a jog, it can be a run, and it's open to all. Now, the town council plans for a £60,000 illumination scheme for the seafront. Another beautiful view here. The old decorative lights were removed in 2021 when the lampposts supporting them were condemned by Dover County Council Health and Safety team. Funds have been set aside for 40 fish and anchor themed illuminated panels, which will be installed on replacement lampposts. Now, I read fish and anchor several times and I kept thinking of fish and chips. Fish and chips themed illuminated lights, and I'm glad that that isn't actually the case. Fish and anchor. Yes, seaweed blankets. I love that thought. Isn't it great? I just love it. The little fishies going around doing their business. Night night. Time for bed. The Ness Cliff, not Loch Ness. It's beautiful, isn't it? So you got a bit of knowledge coming in. Rosemary's given away. I have, as you know, spent a jolly long time reading up about Teignmouth, but there's still so much to learn. And then you have this view. I'm thinking of Dory now, swimming around. It looks calm, but of course currents can be deceiving, can't they? And I am afraid, I think that is your lot. Let me see if, yep. That's Teignmouth for you. Isn't it beautiful? So much to see. There's almost too much for one tour because there's just so much to see and talk about, and that just scrapes the undercarriage of what there is. So we have left to see in Devon. Would you believe? We've still got quite a bit of content. We've got Brixham. We've got Dartmouth. We've got another trip to Dawlish with its Swannages. And we've got Dartmoor National Park. So still lots to see. Some news. Next weekend I'm going to be doing some filming on Sunday, and I cannot be doing the filming and the tour. So I am going to have to not be doing a tour next weekend because I'm going to the Cattery on Saturday and just haven't got enough time. Then I was thinking the weekend after potentially might be doing a quiz. And I love the fact that a few of you have actually been. So a few have been to Brixham. A few of you have been to Devon. So some of these visits I think are refreshing your memories. It's perhaps so you can see what it looks like now, and I love that. I think what's great is that I also have these video memories, even video memories of my trip, although I'm quite sure I'll never look at them again, so I shall look forward to sharing them with you. So thank you to everybody. Thank you again. Thank you to those that have liked my video. Thanks to those who are able to send me a tip. As you know, it's the only way that we keep the virtual touring bus on the road. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, however many hours you've got left of Sunday. Learning a whole new vocabulary with Leonie. Yes, unfortunately, some of them are not words. Some of them are the words that come out of my mouth that are not actual words. It's not just on tour that I do this. It's just a thing. So love to you all. Take care, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.